name is Mitch Dайr. I'm sitting here with Энтони Галлегос.
Hi, everyone.
We're going to look at the debut gameplay demo, Anthony, of Killzone Shadowfall.
It's a very, very pretty game. Assuming this is gameplay, right? I mean, they never did say, as far as I know, that it was actual gameplay or target render or whatever.
Apparently, according to Colin Moriarty, who was on hand at the PlayStation event where they debuted this game, it was playable. Somebody was playing it on stage.
That's cool.
So what we are seeing is apparently real-time PlayStation 4 demo, Killzone sequel, not Killzone 4.
Man, look at those lighting and reflections.
Yeah,
oh my God. If you've been
that's
wondering what next gen's going to do. That's the thing, right? Is next gen games aren't going to look like, it's going to be a bunch of more subtle things that make them look way more realistic, whether that's like way crazier particle effects on that waterfall.
Sure.
Way more high dynamic range lighting.
Lots more assets on screen.
Ton more particle effects, way more actors on screen, like way more fluid animations, that sort of thing.
Right. And apologies for the stutteriness. We recorded this straight from the conference, which was, not exactly perfect in terms of streaming.
But immediately when you see this, right, it feels like Killzone.
Yeah.
Like right down to the way these ISA guys, like the uniforms are kind of familiar if you played Killzone 3 and 2.
The setting, though, is completely different. Like, this is Vecta City. This is a major human colony.
Right.
And, like, we've never, as far as I know, seen it in this state at all in any of the Killzone fiction.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is like, every time you ever see an environment in Killzone, it's always wrecked, right?
Right, it's always
so
on
this
fire.
Is like showing you how the human half lives. Well, the Helgens are humans too, but I mean, like, the Helgens, live in a world that's, you got to see the Helgen homeworld in the last game. It's very brutal, very dark,
right.
And
I like this intro, is all I'm saying, Anthony. It's slow paced. It reminds me a lot of Half-Life 2. Just people hanging out, watching you walk by. You're just kind of relaxing in a city. A lot nicer place than City 17.
Yeah, and you get to see those high poly counts that they can do on those characters now. Those characters, I mean...
do we know who this is? Can we see who the nameplate on there?
No, I can't quite see who it is.
So maybe when they blow it up, we'll be able to see it.
It doesn't look like it's a returning character from the other games.
No, plus this is set decades after the end of Killzone 3, so anybody it would be super old. If
right. Go back just a few frames, and actually you could see his name. His name says Lucas Kellen, it looks like.
All right.
So
that's our man.
Well, assuming so, right? I mean, that could be a placeholder. We don't know for sure, but...
Look at those flower petals just falling.
That's what I'm saying. It's stuff like that that makes
subtlety,
it
right?
total next gen. Like the level of detail that was only possible on like a PC with 8 gigs of RAM and all those sort of things. Which now with that much more RAM and that much more processing power, the PS4 should be able to do the sort of things we're seeing here, right? And this is like launch title. It's like imagine 2015, 2 years down the road, the type of things we're going to be seeing.
Start figuring out what they can do with the architecture. Look at that lighting, man.
Now this part right here, this is where it does start to seem. This is where I started to wonder if it was gameplay, because right there it seems like they took control away from you. It's very scripted.
Sure, I mean we see that in current games too, but I totally understand what you mean. But like,
slow motion, look at that explosion. The way that it's actually changing the tiles, forming the tiles right there as it comes out.
Cracking, exploding, popping out of the ground, becoming dust.
Yeah, I mean that's just a certain level of detail that I would expect nothing less from Guerrilla. They've always done really impressive things, even with the PS3. So
definitely. Now this is where it starts to look a lot like a Killzone game, Anthony.
Yeah, this is
orange and black,
and where you finally pick up a gun. Yeah, I'll admit the first time when I was watching this trailer live and this part happened, I was like, oh, I wonder if this game's going to be about some sort of civil war or something like that.
Yeah, not so much, as we'll find out.
Well, because this guy, you're like ISA soldier running up to help this other ISA soldier. Except I did notice he was holding behind his back what looked like, if you go back a few frames.
I can do that for you.
It actually, even though he's an ISA soldier, go back to where he puts the rifle behind his back.
Maybe do this a little faster.
Yeah, the rifle he puts behind his back is very clearly, it looks like a Helgen rifle. Like, that's not the ISA rifle. That's the Helgen one with the big spiral clip that loads in the back.
Oh, man, you are such a nerd.
And so
that's a strong call, though.
Yeah. So obviously, that is, and it turns out that yes, he is indeed a Helgen.
And this is like as you're seeing here, like the flicker here. This is kind of the next step. We saw invisibility was like the big thing in Killzone 2, but now it's like, no, he's a spy.
Yeah, look at them glowy eyes, so much bigger. But yeah, of course, and then just like Killzone 2 and Killzone 3,
really
you have the
melee kills.
Exactly.
I wonder what the ramifications of that disguise will be in multiplayer.
That's hard to say, right? Will it operate like a Team Fortress 2 spy or something like that?
Oh, man. Suddenly, Helgen everywhere. The Helgast.
Yeah, and I think here is where, obviously this is like, oh, yes, Killzone, 100%.
This is a new gun, though. This is a different gun than
I really don't recognize what this gun is.
It's a lot, like I said, we're in the future a little bit, so it's sleeker.
It looks a lot unlike the other guns. Like the other guns
Yeah.
felt still like standard sort of military rifles. They were very typical in that sense,
Yes.
but this feels very weird. Like I can't even tell you what the heck's going on with the top of that gun. Like where's the barrel?
I guess maybe it's underneath. I don't know. It's just maybe it's just a rail on top.
But
I don't understand guns. Oh wow, and he changed.
I was
going
to say so that's one of the interesting things about it, right? Is it seems like there are current military rifles and that in real life do this as well, where they can switch between an ACOG scope for firing at range, and then they can switch to an iron sight for open.
But here, I mean, he just straight up changed the barrel.
No, yeah, so that's the whole thing. Is the
And
whole
he's back
shape
to a
of the gun
machine gun.
changed between an assault rifle where the scope is down, and then to a sniper rifle where the scope
That
comes
is
up.
awesome.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Like, will this be the only gun that you typically use? Like, will it be something like a Republic Commando where you have one gun that switches forms multiple times? Or
I love that you can just drop that reference at any time.
yeah, I try and work a Republic Commando
I'm
reference
glad.
into anything
That's why
I
you're
do.
my friend, Anthony. 'Cause you can pull that off.
But yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, this still looks like Killzone, just with way better animations and so much better particle effects, right? Like this with all this fire going on and stuff would never work. On a PC.
The frame rates, even on like a maxed out PC, I feel like your frame rate would tank.
Yeah, so I mean, it is exciting to see this, and here's where it gets a little bit Far Cry, in my opinion, Far Cry 3.
Okay.
Because you'll see right here, he's gonna trigger this kill on this guy, and then it's going to like trigger a
He's gonna
secondary
chain him?
kill. Yeah.
All right,
So it's like
cool.
he comes down, stabs that guy, then immediately throws a knife and like does that. So I was like, I wasn't sure what was going on.
100% Far Cry 3
Right?
style.
It seems like it feels like
love
Far
it.
Cry.
Which is fine by me. I love that game.
So yeah, I'm not really sure, and it feels like this guy, like maybe he does not feel like a normal soldier.
Yeah,
and
maybe
I say
he's
that
like a spec ops or an elite.
right, or maybe he has some sort of
ISA.
special abilities. And the reason I say that is, we'll see in here in a second. Like obviously, none of the other guys are using his gun either. But right here, he pulls this sort of maneuver where when he comes around this corner and shoots at this guy, it gets slow motion.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this is like, he has some sort of suit where he can trigger special abilities, like something like Crisis.
It does seem to be like player controlled because it's not like here's a big moment.
Right,
slow
it was
it
one
down.
guy, right?
Yeah.
So it's like maybe the reason he has this crazy gun and he has the ability to slow down time is because you are like some sort of really elite special force.
Right. I can get behind that.
Yeah, I mean it would be cool, right? Because in Killzone up until now you've always just been regular dude.
Yeah.
So if it's gonna be more like you have the ability to affect time, that would be a really cool thing to see.
Look at all those things just dangling from the ceiling. Big glass plate window busted open.
I mean, it's just all these things, the sparks, and also I just feel like even when you look at his arms, he looks like he's wearing a nanosuit. I could be reading.
He really
I could
does
be
look
reading
like the
too much into
Crisis
it, but
guy.
you see like the belts extending out of his sleeves and stuff. I
Right.
feel like it's implying that there is a powered suit
Yeah.
underneath all this.
All right. I
You're
can get
not
behind
just a
that.
typical ISA soldier.
No typical ISA soldier is gonna, hang onto a rope with one hand and shoot someone with the other.
And also, as you're going through this environment, like that's the dazzling part, right? Like it's
Yeah, I mean-
you're supposed to be paying attention to this guy that's shooting this other guy that's
But look at the world
sitting.
around you.
But
Like you said,
exactly,
like,
that is what looks insane
The
to me.
reflections on this window. I mean, you joked about that earlier, but like, look at that. That's beautiful.
This is some J.J. Abrams stuff right here with a little bit of lens flare and stuff
yeah.
we got going on
with
too.
like some episode 3 style.
I mean, this
or episode
right
2
now
style
it's like
car
we just
chase.
went on Coruscant in Star Wars.
Exactly.
So, if this is what next gen has available is going to be available for us, I'm way too excited.
Right. I mean, a lot of people might say that visually this isn't necessarily a substantial leap over the PS3, but it's the finer details and the things that you don't really think about, like this. Like you are covering a massive amount of space right now. And
Yeah.
it's rendering this, either it's streaming it in real time or it was always there, and that's an accomplishment. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see, how Killzone takes advantage of the new features we've seen on the PS4, whether that's like the share button for capturing footage and, the fact that it has basically some sort of built-in move sensor. There's a lot of questions unanswered about this.
Indeed.
Right now what we've seen looks like Killzone, which isn't a bad thing. I want, Killzone's rad.
I'm
but
with you. So before this thing here pops up, I'm looking out at the city. Do we think that this was like a simultaneous siege across the entirety of Vecta City?
Well,
Because this looks like it's in rough shape too.
so they did in the demo. They equated it to being like similar to Cold War Berlin.
right.
And the reason I point to this is that you'll notice these banners in the background, these red ones with the lines in it. Those looks kind of Helgen to me, and it makes me wonder if we're actually seeing a city that has like a line of demarcation, basically, where there's like a Helgen and like an ISA side.
the humans gave some of the city to the Helgast.
Exactly, and so but now it's
Okay.
just like things are going down.
So maybe it is a civil war, like you said before.
Well, yeah, but obviously still a civil war torn by Helgen versus
Yeah,
ISA
totally.
factions.
This is I think we've seen this guy before. This big robot. I
Yeah,
think he was a
there's some
boss
sort
fight
of
in
like
Killzone
hunter-killer
2.
type drone
Yeah.
in the other games.
But we get a better look at the main character here, Lucas. But that's definitely an atypical Killzone suit.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely doesn't have. I don't even think the other soldiers had quite the same armor as him.
No. Typically in Killzone games, they had like a piece of body armor with some elbow
with some
pads
sort of
and
blue
a
light.
T-shirt. Like that's it. Even the Helghast had big bulky suits, so this is like more slender, a lot more influenced by Crysis.
But yeah, there's a lot of questions left unanswered, and we're just gonna have to keep on going to see how it kind of all shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see a lot of really cool stuff. This is like a debut gameplay trailer. The game's coming presumably this year on the PlayStation 4 launches in the holiday. I hope so. I really want to play Killzone Shadowfall, man. That was a really cool demo.
Yep.
All right. Well, for all things PlayStation 4 and Killzone Shadowfall, you know where to be. Anthony, tell the people.
IGN.